Okay, so I see that we are already over 300 people, so I think we can start. But welcome to everybody from different parts of the world. My name is Philip Firmano, and of course, most of you have met us before. We're very excited about today's session, which is curated by See All This magazine, and the session is called Pretty Brilliant, and you'll find out why shortly. Before we start, I just wanted to remind you that Lee Edelkoort has a new book that she created, a second volume to talk about the rise of the Global South. And so if anybody's interested in craft as well as design and even architecture from around the world, especially the southern half of the world, by all means, you can pre-order this on edelkoort.com. Or if you're in North America, you can also do that through Edelkoort Editions. It's another amazing, very, very thick book with hundreds of images, all in beautiful color, talking about the inspiring work which is being done by many, many creatives in the Global South. And it's 85 euros or $85 in the US. We also have a special announcement to make, which is that we're going to be hosting our first ever live session of the World Hope Forum. It's going to be in Rome on October 2nd and 3rd. And so rather than have a World Hope Forum, we're actually going to be hosting a World Wool Forum, which is to talk about the amazing innovation as well as sustainable work which is being done in farming, not just sheep's wool, but all of the different wools from many different animals all over the planet. So we have an amazing roster of speakers who are going to be joining us for 2 days in Rome at the beginning of October. And there's only 50 seats in the space that we've hired. So if anybody's interested in that, please save the date now if you'd like to come with us, especially if you're interested in textiles and fibers. And we'll be emailing you very soon once we have the dates so that you can sign up. And of course, I forgot to mention it's done in collaboration with the wonderful Isabella Rossellini, and we're being hosted on the Fendi farm. So it's a very nice and prestigious event full of wonderful, inspiring women and a few men as well. Now, before we start and before I ask Lee to introduce our ambassadors for this month's session, we did want to mention that in the fashion news this week, there was the departure of Maria Grazia Curie from Dior, where she has been working for many, many seasons. And so we wanted to sort of highlight that this woman who is such an amazing designer, who's possibly the best ever designer that the company has had at its helm, has done remarkable work, especially when it comes to goddesses. She's also has a very solid system that she uses every season, doing collaborations, specifically focusing on feminism and on the feminine narrative. So we think that she is exemplary, and we're very, very sad to see her go because she was, as always, at the top of her game. She quadrupled the revenue of Dior Women's from $2.5 billion a year to $10 billion a year. So it's quite surprising that a woman who's at the top of her game and doing the most talented work ever is being asked to step down from such a label. So we wanted to look back at a few images of her work with goddesses, which started with a collaboration with the artist Judy Chicago in 2020, when for the Couture show, it was staged in this amazing space inside the Rodin Gardens here in Paris. And to enter the fashion show, everybody had to walk through this very womb-like architectural space. Inside, Judy Chicago had created many, many banners with slogans talking about feminism, of course, what she's most famous for. And it was a very inspiring collection where all of the garments were different interpretations of what it meant to be a goddess. This was in summer 2020. Here you can see What If Women Ruled the World in the background, and some of the column dresses, all in beautiful gold and amazing couture fabrics, which were treated by the petit man of the Dior workshops. Her work in person is as beautiful as in these photographs. What's amazing, of course, apart from the fact that it's a woman designing for the female body, is that there is a lot of ease in these garments. So even if they're quite slender silhouettes, there's still a lot of room to respect and understand the movement of all kinds of body shapes underneath, whether it's in flowing fabrics, such as in these gathered dresses, goddess dresses, or in beautiful, beautiful coats. So she has used the goddess mantra or the goddess format over many, many seasons, both in ready-to-wear as well as especially in the couture collections. And later on, there was another collection in 23-24, which was the first collaboration when Maria Grazia decided to work with the Chanaka School of Craft in Mumbai. So this was another interesting move where she wanted to have repetition and a solid matrix for her work. And there was beautiful embroidery, which was creating these huge murals. So first and foremost here, you would see interesting animals and mythological beings, including females in the background. And so the dresses, of course, were walked in front of this amazing backdrop. And it really was to give attention not just to this incredible school, but to the importance of craftsmanship, not just at couture, but for everybody working in the handmade. So again, she was working with beautiful goddess dresses in gathered silhouettes, including lots of metallics. And here you can see that how much attention was given to this idea of the handmade and getting back to amazing details. So I'll let Lee comment a little bit more on what she thinks about this departure. But if you have been following the fashion press in the last few years, you would have perhaps noticed that there was many journalists who were not very favorable to her work, even though she had quadrupled the revenue, even though season after season, everything was mind-blowingly beautiful and incredibly impeccable. So I'm
the answer, Philip, is male journalists. There were a couple of male journalists who couldn't stand her, hated her with a very profound hate, made horrible remarks as much as they could. It never took her down because she also had a lot of female admirers over the world, and especially female girls and women being so happy to be dressed in these amazing clothes. She's now going to repair a theater in Rome, so she's already departed on a new thing. It's not going to let her down, but we need to understand, please, my audiences, that recently many female designers have lost their companies, and the work is taken over by men. So there is a real backlash, I would say, of feminism, not just in certain parts of the world, not just in certain countries, authoritarian countries. There is a general recall of the principles of female power and feminism, and that is why today's seminar is so timely, because again, it's the third installment of only female artworks, which is a huge Olympic task done by the team of Sealdis. I'm super happy to connect you with two friends who are taking care of this quite unique publication. It's my friend Nicole X. She is the founder and editor-in-chief, and she writes and she explores and she travels and she talks, and she's embodying, I would say, the publication. And then her very close partner who participates in all this, Sarah Knigge. She told me how to say her name just now, so I didn't know. It's Knigge, it's like very Dutch, with lots of G's. And they're both wonderful people to work with. I know that from near because I was asked by them to do recent issue to be the curator, the guest curator, which was super interesting. I learned a lot. I enjoyed a lot. We had much fun, but especially I learned, from them how to make a very intelligent publication. And I think, I presume, and I understand that this afternoon is another one of these very intelligent lineups of a few of the artists in their new publication, which is going to be launched next week. So this is a preview, guys. You're lucky. We have a really, really nice afternoon.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
this great introduction.
Yes, it's a very great introduction. And I like to thank you for your generous invitation. It's an honor to be here with you. We are in our working space here in Amsterdam. We have the windows open. It's a beautiful day here, and I would like to welcome all the people that joined today, but especially our guests. We have Catharine de Zeger, we have Cecilia Vicuña, we have Sutapa Biswas, Michelle Donor, and Cecilia Fiona. And Sarah will introduce them later to you. But first, let us tell a little bit about Seal This art magazine, and especially the final issue of Pretty Brilliant. It's a series of 3, and it brings together more than 583 women artists. So it was indeed an Olympic task to get this done. We worked almost 7 years. And what we try to do with Seal This is in the same way, the same what is World Hope For is trying to do, is that we try to find a way of alternative ways in the world, alternative ways to live. And so we think that we, especially in these defining times, we cannot fight a darkness with darkness. We can only shine a light. And that is what we're trying to do with Seal This, but especially with the issues on women artists only, especially with Pretty Brilliant. So this issue we have made, not yet, it's still at the printer, but it will come out in 2 weeks, and we celebrate it next Friday with a special launch. And the first launch is how we show you the cover of this.
Maybe we show the other ones first.
No, well,
This one?
yeah, okay, first this one, and I come back later to it. This is the Goddess issue that we are launching next week. So what we were trying to do with this special issue is that we wanted to this issue on goddesses, we want to celebrate the divine qualities and the extraordinary creative voice women artists have. So how did this happen, this big idea and amount of work? It started, the idea of the theme, I was discussing with Sarah 2 weeks ago, like, how did this happen? How this idea, this theme of goddesses came to us. And then I realized that it is a seed planted many years ago. There was this book in the 80s, and it was called Goddess
In Every Woman?
Yeah, Goddess in Every Woman, that it was called. And I think even Lee, I talked with Lee about it, and Lee said she read that book. And so in that book, there were these archetypes that women could relate to. And these were all Greek goddesses. So you had the sensuous and creative Aphrodite, and you had the nurturing the meter. You had this wise Athena and Artemis, of course. And Catherine will talk later about Artemis. So I thought, okay, this might be a good idea. And Catherine wasn't first really glad about this whole theme. She was a little bit, what about goddesses? No. And then we had this conversation with one of our key writers, author, Professor Dr. Giselda Pollock. And she is in the art world, the Professor Dr. Giselda Pollock. She has wrote numerous books on women artists, especially. And she made a very good remark. And she said, well, Nicole, no, it was even true, Catherine. She said, like, you shouldn't narrow yourself down to Greek goddesses, because, you know, that is just one story. But goddesses are from all times, and goddesses are everywhere. So you should rethink the concept. And she was, of course, completely right. So that happened, and it was a very good idea. So the issue now is it's 250 pages. It's 6 chapters where we journey. I mean, we traveled to
different continents,
6 different continents, and introduce 6 different goddesses, and that is in the line of and somebody who did crazy work and very powerful work, and that was Joseph Campbell. And he learned that indeed every country has their own set of goddesses. So you have the Pachamama in South America, but you have the goddess of the earth in Antarctica as well. So that is about this issue. But how did this start? Because this is the final milestone issue of a big work. And it started in 2018. And it was, here is the, it is this issue. We don't share screens. We show
paper.
just paper. We want to show you paper. So, and in this issue, it was, we wanted to celebrate the women's suffrage of 2019. And it was 100 years.
100 years.
Yes, anniversary. So we made this issue, and I sat with the team and we were discussing this issue, and I said, you know what's good? It's good that we will do this one time and then we never need to do this again. Because, you know, it's going very well. It's going,
not an issue anymore.
It's not an issue anymore. We see remarkable female artists. We see how they are recognized by the art world. So the female artist is in a good position. That was the idea. So we never have to do this again. And then I realized later with the team that it was completely naive, what I had been telling, and that it was one big illusion, and that we lived in this very sweet bubble of us, but that the real world was looking differently. So what we learned when we researched, and for maybe many of you that was not new, but it was new to us, was that in the we started researching the classic works that every art student, history of art student needs to read. So we discovered that in the story of art of Congreve
Congreve.
and in the history of art from Jensen, there were no female artists, none, zero. And I think, especially for me, that was, but for the whole team, but especially for me, that was a real shock. And the shock was that and Sarah as well, you're an art historian too. What we realized at that time, I remember that I need to, this is the thick history of art of Jensen, the classic work, and we had to read this book in 3 weeks. It was our first, we entered the first year, and this was our first book. So I realized that basically all art historians are trained with one eye closed, and that we have half of the knowledge there is out there. And for me, that was a kind of fake news in the whole of the university. So that was a real shock for us. And mostly you keep it are just numbers. But this time it felt like all these female artists, all these women that tried to get their work seen, that was just not possible. There was no way to get through the male art world.
Yeah, because one of the authors, who wrote the history of art,
yeah,
he even said,
yeah,
there was no women good enough to shape art history. So he literally said that that was the reason why there were no women included in his first editions.
Yeah, and so he said two things. There are no women artists, and that is what I learned at college, and they are just not good enough. That was the main message. So when we realized this, there was this very special book on my table all the time, a beautiful book, and I didn't know who wrote it and who made it, but I thought she will live in Australia or far away. But it was a book of Catherine de Ziger, who is here with us today. And there was something about this book. It was the beauty. It had a kind of kindness, and the selection of women artists it was precious. So I tried to reach out to her, and finally I got in touch with her, and we were in Antwerp and we're talking about women artists. And then we decided, okay, we make a new issue, the first issue of Pretty Brilliant. And we did that, and it came out, and this is our first issue, and it came out with lockdown. So we had worked in very quiet times. We had worked on these 300 pages, and especially Sarah, the day and night, she was working on this. And it was kind of an instant success. Although all the bookshops were closed, we had to make a shop of our own, and it was even reprinted. So we realized that we were touching something that was emotional for people and important for people. So after this one, we made part 2. And for me, this looks like Sarah. And I hope this one looks like me. And so am I talking too long, Sarah?
A bit.
Oh God, I need to come to a conclusion here. So the second issue, it was interesting because people were already used to women artists. So museums, after the first issue in the Netherlands, a lot of museums start researching women artists. They started making exhibitions of their work. So there was this feeling that it was not needed anymore. And now we are in 2025, and the world shifted again. And I think every one of us understands that we need this again. And we realized through all these issues that feminism comes in waves. And you have this ebb and flow. And do I say ebb and flow? Yeah. And we are in defining times, and words like women, feminism, activism are just banned. So I'm very glad and proud that we can launch this third issue now on goddesses. And yeah, I think I should leave it here because we maybe run out of time already.
And we can see it.
And there's one thing that I would like to say, and that is that working on all these issues and working with all these female artists and working with all the authors learned us so much. And if you look at our body of work, we are in issue 38 with this issue. So we made 38 issues, and what you see is that we changed after the issue 20, the first issue of Pretty Brilliant. And you see it in the layout, and you feel it in the tone of voice, and you notice it in how we curate works of art. And I think I speak for the whole team that for us it was so good that we had one eye closed all our life, and now we look with both eyes open, and it's just a pleasure.
It's a journey of discovery.
It's a journey of discovery, and yeah, it's like what started as a kind of rebellion and a necessity to do this ended in a feeling of how do you say it? Devotion. Yeah, a feeling of devotion. So yeah.
Yes, let's go to the speakers, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And to go back to the goddess issue and the goddess theme, I think, as you already mentioned, for us it's not just about like the literal sense of mythology, but it's about looking beyond. It's about the power of imagination and about rituals and creating new symbols and thinking about alternatives and alternative worlds and new meanings. So in one way or the other, I think all women who participated with us on creating this issue, yeah, they include this in their practice, and that's why we are very excited for this event and to introduce them to you all. So first we'll go